Hi everyone, I'm Luke Hector and this is the Broken Meeple, a show where I rant and rave about board games, but usually more the ranting part. We've got a nice little speed review here of Pergola from Rebel Studios, Asmodee. This is done by the same artist and publisher that did Meadow, and Meadow was a pretty popular game, very beautiful artwork, like exquisite looking pictures of animals and landscapes and ponds and rivers and stuff. It was like, so gorgeous. Well, as you can tell from the cover, this is definitely going to be a looker as well. But this is one about basically building a little garden setup where you put various little flowers out, you get little bugs, they can go on the flowers and they score in various ways. It's meant to be a very light game, very accessible game, and of course it's going to be something that you're just going to drool at in terms of its visual splendor. I mean, let's face it, would you not at least give this one a second glance when you saw it on a shelf? But is it just going to be all pretty pictures and no substance, or is there still a decent game here?
You don't love me!
So in Pergola, as always, you're trying to get the most victory points, go figure, but the turn sequence is very straightforward. Each turn you are basically choosing one of 4 different tools. These tools are laid out above this little action board. You will choose one of the tools to take, you will get the bonuses that are on it, and then you will do the action that was below the tool in question. Everything will slide down, and there's basically a bunch more tools depending on the player count. That sounds pretty straightforward already, and well, it kind of is, because that's the main mechanics of the game. With the tools, you just get what's pictured on there. So this gets you all sorts of different, little special plants, hollyhock plants, little Mangala or Mangola plants, lavender, leaves, but then it can also get you buttercups, it can get you lanterns, it can get you little butterflies, little bees, little dragonflies, little ladybugs. There's quite a lot of stuff that you can get to populate, and they're basically all on here. When you do the action down below, typically it lets you do one of 4 things. You can move a frog around on this little sort of lily pad board, and this allows you to get dragonflies, which are they're in the box, but also pick up more of the bug tokens. You can instead do the water action, which has 2 little drip tokens here on a sideboard, and you move them down this little cascadey waterfall, and you collect bugs as you go along, but there's scoring opportunities if you can get them all the way down. On the side, you can also collect these leaves via bird flight, basically. And these leaves, they get you points for different colors, but they also get you different insects while they're on there. And then finally, you've got an action for flying insects around, because when you get insects, these little ladybugs and bees and, little, run away bee, bees. When you get these bugs, they just sit on your board for the time being. But once you've actually got somewhere to put them, like for example, there's a little hollyhock flower where butterflies can go, you can actually, if you've already got the space, the bug can go on it. But otherwise, you need to use the action on this board to be able to fly them on. And the game basically just carries on in this way for 15 turns each. You choose a tool, get the bonuses, do the action below, and try and populate your board with all sorts of ways in order to score points. And you've got quite a nice amount that are written on this board, and there's things like, getting different color buttercups and loading bees on them, which let you flip honey jars to let you score more points elsewhere. You've got building really tall Mangala plants. I forget if it's Mangala or Mangola, I forget. What are they called? Lavender, that's gonna bug me. Magnolia, there you go. So I am not a green thumb person, alright, so gardeners are going to have a field day with me on this. But, you've got, these little leaves that you can build up to get the lavender plants, you've got the different lanterns with abilities on them, there's all sorts of different ways to score, like having tallest plants, diverse bugs, diverse plants, flipping all this stuff, and it's just, like I say, it's a bit of a point salad, but you play for 15 turns, building up this very beautiful garden, and once you get to the end, total up the points and see who wins.
Of course!
Yeah, not much to it really, is there? This is gateway level light, and the only thing that gets in the way of it being sort of gateway level is the fact that you do have a fair few ways to score on here. I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one of those is kind of a subset of a couple of things as well. You've got 9 different ways that you can score points here. And 1 or 2 of them take a little bit of explaining. not many. I find I have to explain the way that the hollyhocks work to an extent, even though I think the iconography is sound, but also the way that the ladybugs work on their plants. That one isn't quite as intuitive from the picture and requires a bit more explanation for, the first-time players. But that's about it. Otherwise, this game is gateway level simple. Take a tool, do an action. And the actions are not complicated, and the iconography is pretty clear, aside from that little blemish I mentioned before. So anybody can play this game. And what this game is basically kind of a light palette cleanser. You know, this is your start of the evening thing to get you into the games. Or you've already played some heavy game and you need something to clean the palate and just go, right, I don't want to do any major thinking, let's just play something light and fluffy.
Fluffy!
Well, that's what this game is in spades. I mean, everything about it screams light and fluffy. Not just the simple rules, but the simplistic scoring for the most part, and just how gorgeous everything looks. This is being produced really well for the price point that it has. I mean, they go to slightly ridiculous respects. I mean, you've got a little plant pot here with a little thing in here so that when you take the tools, you actually store them in here, which is actually not too bad an aspect because you can put them in here and it makes it a little bit easier to clear it up at the end of the game, and you can track how many turns you've done, which is quite neat. But, you know, other than that, a lot of these tokens are stored in this insert, which, as long as you don't store it on its side, is brilliant. Because this just sits in the middle of the table, you get the tools out, and then this little bit goes on top for the frog board, and it means that the main space you need is essentially these boards in front of you, which, you know, they do take up a bit of amount of space, but this insert is just so really good. I mean, you've got all the different pieces in there, all nicely contained, all easy to put back in and take out, you know, nothing's finicky about it at all. And it just keeps everything nice and contained, it allows the game to play at a nice, smooth, fast pace, and it just looks the part. I mean, this is the kind of thing I want to see in any game with a bucket load of components. But on top of that, I mean, you've got your screen-printed wooden frog meeple and a few little cardboard tokens for the honey pots and birdhouses and stuff. That's fairly well and good. But yes, okay, it's cardboard. It's not, you know, necessarily wood and everything, although the bugs are wood. They're screen printed wood. I mean, they're very tiny bits of wood, so if you've got really fat fingers, you might want to be a little bit careful. When you build this thing up, it's just so beautiful. I mean, you can have like this big, you know, magnolia plant just sort of, you know, extending miles up your board. You can have a ton of these little pretty hollyhock flowers, and they could be dotted with little butterflies, and it feels good to get like a row of 3 or just have lots of little butterflies in there. I find myself going for bees quite a lot because I'm addicted to honey, and so I like getting a bunch of the buttercups and basically hanging them off this bit here in the pergola and putting bees on them to flip my honey. You've got the drip things over here. It just looks and is produced so well. I mean, it's the same artist from Meadow. Was it Carolina Kijak? I really am butchering that name. I'm sure. I mean, this is a Polish studio. I've actually got one of her pictures on my kitchen wall downstairs. Rebel were very kind to send me like a framed art picture of one of the Meadow cards. I think it's like an internal workshop with a bunch of like flowers and like plants hanging off the wall or something, but I got it, I framed it, and I put it downstairs in my kitchen. It actually looks really nice there. Her artwork is stellar. It really is beautiful. I mean, I would say Meadow is better to look at from that, but that's because of the diversity of all the cards in there. When you've got the animals and the nature and everything, this is still like drop dead gorgeous though. It is beautiful. People will look as they come round. You know, the only thing I can really fault on the production is the score pad. And that's only because the score pad is way too small. You know, it's got like enough that you need to score on there, but you can only do 1 player at a time on these things, and that's 1 sheet. So if you're playing this with 4 players on a regular basis, this pad is going to run out pretty damn quick. I think BGG is going to be your friend in terms of finding an alternate scorecard that somebody will hopefully have made, printing it and laminating it. I think it will be worth it. But yeah, this is not a lot of score pads. Now you can play this solo, and solo is basically identical to multiplayer, except that when you take the tools from this board, when you take a tool, another tool goes away. So you have to think, well, I need this, but then that's going to go away. Other than that, though, it's 15 turns and you build up your garden. And, you know, I mean, multiplayer and solo play out pretty much the same. So yes, you can sort of make the argument that solo is better than multiplayer, and it probably is. Mainly just because it's less time. But the time on the box is not bad. It says 60 minutes, and that's about right. This game should not take you more than an hour to play, even with 4 players, and it will take you less with, you know, like by yourself. You could get this game done in about half an hour by yourself. Once you've got all the different sort of scoring rules down, it really doesn't take long to do 15 turns by yourself. Another aspect of the solo mode that's quite cool is that you've got these little challenges. So you can just play this as a have fun for 30-45 minutes by yourself, but you do also have these little challenges that you can do where you need at least 4 flowers full of bees, you need a set of 5 different leaves, etc. But you also are trying to beat a score set by 2 made-up names, which are really close in points. I mean, one of them is literally like saying Prismac got 102 and GoLab got 100. okay? There's another one that says Prismac got 102 and GoLab got 102. Eh? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's basically the names of the designers at the end of the day, but it's just like, it's kind of weird that, I mean, are these actual scores that the designers got when they play tested their own game? Hard to say. But trying to get 100 points in this game is not easy. I mean, you have to do pretty well in order to get 100 points. So these challenges are pretty tough. You know, so if you can achieve all of these, then fair play to you. You've done pretty damn well. But, you know, a lot of your score is also going to depend on what order the tools come out, what sort of things you're aiming for. So, you know, there's a luck aspect to the game, and it certainly is light and fluffy, but you've got a little bit extra on the solo mode to go with it. And other than that, there's not a lot else to say. I mean, you know, it goes back in the box really easily. The insert keeps everything nice and clean, nice and tidy. Player pieces, there aren't that many, and you can just keep them in your little plant pot between games. That's nice. And when you want to pack everything away, you just get all the little components and put them back in the insert where you got them from. It really isn't hard to get this thing packed up. I mean, you can see what I'm doing here, and it's like, well, there's my solo board mostly cleared out, so it's pretty damn quick. It's what it says on the tin, really. It's light, it's fluffy, it's beautiful, it's gateway level, and we do need a few more gateway games these days because I feel like we're kind of vying way too much towards over-complex games, and we need to actually get some more introductory games out to bring people into the hobby, not just retain the ones we already have. And this one, I think, does a stellar job for it. Now, do you want to play it like time and time again? Probably not. You know, once I've played a game of this, I'm not suddenly going, oh, let's play again, let's play again, let's play again. You know, it's like, nah, I play this game and I go, that was nice. I put it away for a little bit, then I bring it out and go, yeah, that was nice and fluffy. As a solo player, I can just go, you know what, I need something in the morning just to like wake me up for the day. Or maybe it's like, oh, I've had a bad day at work, you know, it's a long day, you know what, I just need to clear my mind of stuff. Can I just build some nice little flowers and put butterflies on them? You know, it is very much a solo palette cleanser. So, gameplay perspective, it's only going to do so much for you. But as a package, it's just done so well. And I've got to give kudos for it. You know, it ticks every box it needs to. And yes, I'm not going to play it time and time and time again. But I'm going to bring it out reasonably often because it is just a nice, light, fluffy game, and for what it sets out to do. It needs to look the part, it needs to be easy to play, it needs to be quick to play, it needs to be gateway level, it needs to be suitable for introductory gamers, it needs to cater for solo and multiplayer. It ticks every single box. And for that, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it really does a stellar job. You know, again, I'm not going to play it like multiple times in a row. You know, I don't do that with all of my 9 out of 10 games, but it's the fact that it does what it set out to do, and I can't really think of any flaws in the game to set it apart. I can't give it a 10 out of 10, no, because it you know, there's only so much you're going to get out of simply just collecting pieces and scoring for them. You know, there are limitations, but it's still really solid. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to use this as a perfect introduction game. It's going to sit alongside stuff like Cascadia and that. You know, I dare say this is probably one of the better gateway games that there is, you know, to get people into the hobby. I think it does a fantastic job of that. And, you know, obviously this is not for everybody. I mean, if you're a die-hard heavy gamer, strategic gamer, you're not going to get much cop out of this. You know, if you want something based on soul skill, you're probably not going to get something out of this. But if you want a family weight game, something good with the kids, something that's just light and fluffy, or you just want to introduce your friends to the hobby and you need something that will do the job nicely, then I can't recommend this one enough.
Quiet, bud.
So that's it for me on this episode of The Broken Meeple. If you like what you see, then please thumb it up on YouTube and thumb it up on Board Game Geek when it goes live on the page. Check out the rest of my content. This is probably the lightest game I've done in a while, you know, apart from maybe Nature. But we've got Luthier, we have Vantage, you know, I don't know if that's going up before this video, we'll have to see. You know, there's Old King's Crown, there's Captain's Chair, Star Trek, you know, there's a bunch of bigger, more complex games that I have done. But this is definitely one of the lighter ones. And of course, thank you to the Patreons who help keep this channel going by allowing me to get copies of games. Thanks to Asmodee for providing this one as a review copy. You know, this one was not a one I had to buy myself, but the Patreons help keep this channel going by helping to pay all the subscriptions, all the other costs, and of course, when I can't get a review copy, I need to get the game somehow, and these people are the ones that allow me to do that and put out the content that you're hopefully enjoying. So until next time, regardless if it is the bees,
Not the bees!
it's still only a game, so take care, and bye for now.